G'day, I'm David, and this week we're on the launch in Australia of the Deepal E07. It's an electric vehicle, and what category does it fit in? Well, that's a bit up to debate. They say it's somewhere between an SUV and a ute. I think of it more as a stylish SUV with a big opening at the back. But let's have a look at the first look to see what it's like, and we'll have a much fuller road test at a later date. Deepal's E07 is only their second vehicle in the Australian market. Their first model, the S07, has barely troubled the scorer since its release in November last year, with Deepal's ranking just 61st in Australian car manufacturers by year-to-date sales up to August 2025. But don't be fooled, Deepal's parent company, Chang'an, is one of China's automotive giants. Their strength lies not in Australia's modest sales, but in dominance at home and an expanding global export footprint. The E07 is a statement of intent. Bold design, elegant power, comfort-focused interiors, and a willingness to challenge categories. It's an SUV, but with some ute-like practicality. It's a family hauler, but with sports car acceleration. We spent a day behind the wheel. These are our first impressions. We'll follow up with a longer-term test to dive deeper into its many features. A lot of this very special look at this car is towards the back, but let's start at the front. It is very horizontal in its look. And while it's not quite an SUV or a ute, it certainly doesn't try for that big, bold, vertical type of grille that looks a little bit like a truck. This one is very horizontal lines with not a lot of detail to it. You don't need to have a big grille, and so down beside it can be relatively flat and quite simple styling there. It does have a slight grille underneath to give a little bit of cooling to the batteries, and that works with a system that will turn off until the batteries need the cooling. Now down the side we have the 21-inch wheels, which have some fairly low profile tyres on them. They have 45 profile tyres. That's quite fitting for this one because it is the all-wheel drive with the most power of any of the two models, and boy, it's got a lot of power. Down the side, a little bit of a sill to add for the feature, and an occasional little bit just up the front here first, and then down the back with a slight angle here just to give a little bit of side view to it. It doesn't have a lot of angles on the side, but I find that this one here is quite simple. It's not sharp, but it just gives it a bit of pattern. Now, look at the fastback look of that. I think that works much better than many of the others that have taken a boxy SUV and just rounded down the back a bit. But that fastback look also has a number of features of which we'll see, and that is around the back. Well, we've been out on the farm areas, so there's a bit of dust in here, which is a shame. It does have this signature lights across the front, at the top and at the bottom as well. If I say, "Hey Deepal,"
Hi, good afternoon.
Open the boot.
Sorry, this feature does not support voice operation outside the vehicle.
This feature doesn't support operate. That's a shame. This is about 5 metres long. Now, a ute would typically be 5.3 metres, so you get a bit of extra in the tray. But the way this works, and I think works well, is like an SUV, and that is if you want space in the back, you can fold the seats down.
If you value independent journalism or simply enjoyed the video, please support the channel by hitting like and subscribe.
Variants and pricing. Two models are available in Australia. The rear-wheel drive from $64,900 and the all-wheel drive performance from $73,900. Now, that's before on-road costs. Non-standard paint options are available for an extra $500. In New South Wales, drive-away prices sit around $70,000 for the base model and just under $80,000 for the all-wheel drive. That's competitive given the performance and features on offer. For your $9,000 to $10,000 extra, the all-wheel drive performance variant offers all-wheel drive, substantially more power, extra colour choices, including a striking bright orange, vehicle stability and off-road assist. In terms of size, the E07 sits at the upper end of the large SUV class. It's shorter than popular dual-cab utes and smaller than pickups, but unlike utes, its interior design prioritises passenger comfort. Deepal claims the E07 can even fit a queen-size mattress in the back. That makes it an intriguing choice for camping, and they've shown it with a tent extension. A clever party trick is the retractable roof section, sliding back 400mm to open up the load space in a way no SUV or ute can match. The styling sparks debate. Some find the rear-end design unusual, but it's more distinctive than awkward coupe-like SUV attempts from BMW or Mercedes. It's bold, and while it won't be for everyone, at least it's not bland. Voice control from outside the car is another party trick. If you carry the key, you can command certain functions before even stepping in. We'll need more time to test how practical that really is. Step inside, and the first impression is plush minimalism. The steering wheel houses just 2 roller switches. There's no instrument cluster, but a clear head-up display makes up for that. Standout comfort features include acoustic double glass for a quiet cabin, heated, ventilated and massage seats for both rows of occupants, zero-gravity front seating. Now that means multiple sensors detect body shape and apply gentle pressure to support muscles and the spine, particularly useful on long trips. There's also adjustable leg rests in the front, 18 internal speakers plus 2 external ones, hopefully only for voice prompts, not fake exhaust noise. In the front, there's 131 litres in the frunk, 524 litres in the rear, expanding to 1,654 litres with the seats folded. And there's a payload of 300 kilograms in the transformable rear section. Performance and range is where Deepal makes a very strong point. The rear-wheel drive model has 252 kilowatts and 365 newton-meters of torque, giving a 0 to 100 time of 6.7 seconds. That's pretty good. But the all-wheel drive performance has 440 kilowatts, that's 590 horsepower in the old measure, and 645 newton-meters, which would make many a ute rather proud, resulting in a 0 to 100 time of just 3.9 seconds. That's faster than many sports cars, yet from a 5-seat family SUV, it's incredible. Instant torque makes acceleration feel effortless, even academic at times, more suited to a drag strip than public roads, but it does give you that incredible flexibility when overtaking. Both models share a near 90 kilowatt-hour NMC battery. Gives 550 kilometres for the rear-wheel drive model and 510 kilometres for the all-wheel drive model. That's only a 7% drop in range for a vehicle that has near 75% boost in power and a bit more than that in torque. That's a fair trade. Charging, it has both AC and DC charging. And the AC is up to 7 kilowatts, and that will take 13 to 16 hours for a full charge, and a lot longer on a standard 3-point plug at home. DC charging is up to 240 kilowatts, and that's credible if you can find the charger to do it. And they say that you can get between 30 and 80% charge in around 15 minutes. And again, they say that's 350 kilometre range approximately. Interestingly, that's about 64% increase in range from a 50% charge of the battery, which suggests the middle portion of the battery may be a bit more efficient. It also has vehicle-to-load up to a 6.6 kilowatt output at 220 volts, so you can plug in computers, kettles, or camping gear. And there's even vehicle-to-vehicle charging. Safety and driving tech. The E07 is loaded with driver assist systems, each with its own 3-letter abbreviation. Many are now expected, but a few caught my attention. There's the 360 Sentry Mode monitoring, invaluable for parking and spotting small pedestrians. Traffic Jam Assist, lateral deviation control, rollover mitigation, reverse tracing assist. Now, when you know you're going into a difficult situation, you turn it on and it memorizes the last 50 meters and automatically retraces your path. Reverse tracing assist. Now, if you know you're going into a difficult situation, say a steep driveway with a few curves on it, turn it on and it memorizes the last 50 meters and then automatically retraces your path. It does the steering for you. Air suspension with adjustable ground clearance adds versatility up to 223 millimeters. But with low-profile tyres and no spare wheel, only a puncture kit, it's not aimed at rugged off-roading. It has brake towing capacity of 1.5 tonnes and wading depth is quoted at 600 millimetres. As with most car tests now, looking at how easy it is to operate usually means spending quite a bit of time getting used to this before you start driving. Once you start driving, selecting for the stalk on the right. Now we're in the all-wheel drive high horsepower, and I've got to tell you, that is really great acceleration. Now, the usual road test, of course, you've got to give your impressions of what it feels like to drive it. But to operate the system, you usually have to spend a lot of time now in a modern car to get used to the technology. And this is certainly no exception. But once you've got a grip on that, including things like setting up the steering wheel and the seat is traditional. It's just the usual controls on the left here. But the steering, you've got to go into home. You've got to go into steering wheel, seats, rear mirror and steering wheel, and then steering wheel position. Now I've got to be, of course, in park to do this. Do not adjust it while driving. No, once it's done that, I've got to have the steering wheel straight. It tells me it's on the right hand one, and this moves it one way, in, out, or up. What? It said it's full limit. Up or across. You've got to get it right, haven't you? You've got to spend some time to make sure that's working. That's just one of the things that you really have to get used to. Things like fans and that, I'll talk about that in detail. Here's one thing that I find a little bit hard, and that is that this mirror here, in the middle of the back of the car is a band where the retractable roof comes down and meets, and where there's a bit of space below it. And the one above that solid piece of infrastructure is at a slope, and it's a bit hard to see, and the bottom one is really down where you can hardly see back too far behind you. It's just takes a bit of getting used to. Now, we'll go into drive on a stalk on the right, and away we go. Now, we're in the all-wheel drive high-powered one. Oh, that wasn't flat out. So this is just a performance car that you wouldn't believe. I'm just turning the fan down a little bit. It's a little bit cumbersome. There's too much on the screen that you've got to do. Now, maybe I can convert that into being able to do with these multifunctional bits. But to be quite honest with you, that's very cumbersome. And I never know which one I've got. does have a head-up display, very clear, including a vision of cars around you, be they coming in the other direction or if it were multiple lane. Now this has got 21-inch rims, and that means fairly low profile tyres. That's likely to increase the noise a bit, but it's pretty good, particularly on smooth motorways. It's certainly not stridently intrusive. You're conscious of it, particularly if you get to those rather rougher Australian roads. On the first leg of the drive for the launch, we averaged the best fuel efficiency, energy efficiency in driving the electric vehicle. Why? Because it was just so easy to drive, and it was so easy to enjoy the countryside in a vehicle that travels smoothly and calmly. I like the mirrors, and by the way, they automatically go down when you're in reverse to show you how close you're getting to scraping your mag wheels. The steering is light and it makes it easy and comfortable to drive. Perhaps some may think that there might be a need for a little bit more play. That might be appropriate. Now this huge screen, over 15 inches in diameter, there's a lot of information, and this has a lot of controls that you really have to look at and try and make sense of. I find it just a little bit overpowering. The great thing about this, it has massage seats, heated seats and cooled seats. That's what I particularly love. Now the head-up display says flashing at me about lane keep assist. Now to get into that, if I'm not too, it's got intelligent speed assist. You see, I'm looking far too much to try and find out what's there. And the safety assistance, we've now just got warning and braking. We've turned off. No, we do have both warning and braking. So it can't be turned on because I'm getting near the edge and it's not telling me anything. You can also pick the fact of whether you want it, I believe, to tell you quickly in advance or tell you at the last minute. Well, later, let's put it that way. This can beep at you when it thinks you're going over the speed limit, but it's not too loud, or certainly the way it's set up now is not too loud. I think I can better endure that than those that are stridently, piercingly almost giving you a warning, and I emphasise it when it thinks it's over the speed limit. On the drive, I haven't got any school zones to test it that way. That might be one of the big tests. I just get back to the throttle response on this. You really, if you enjoy power but want to do it carefully, I've got to say, I think this is the car to do it. So in conclusion, after one day, the Deepal E07 leaves a strong impression. It's distinctive, spacious and comfortable, especially in the second row. The performance is blistering in the all-wheel drive, while the rear-wheel drive already feels more than adequate. Pricing and range stack up well against rivals. Yes, the reliance on screen-based controls can be frustrating, and the sheer number of electronic systems raises questions about long-term costs. But Deepal is clearly pushing the envelope in technology, comfort and electric vehicle design. This is a bold new entrant into the Australian EV market, one that deserves more than a passing glance. The question is, how many Australian buyers will take a chance on bold design and innovation, or will stick with the familiar? We'll know soon enough.
Have your own thoughts? We'd love to hear them, good, bad, or in between. Have a chat with us by dropping a comment below.